I built the brain of their empire, and they didn't just steal it. They stole me. My name is Drew Blake, an engineer with Vantage Trust Bank. My work was stolen by my boss to secure his promotion. They say AI doesn't have a soul. But what I built, it felt alive. I called it Sentinel, a neural anomaly detection engine designed to predict financial fraud before it happened. Not just flagging transactions after the fact, but reading intent, behavior, rhythm. It didn't guess. It knew. That was my obsession. For 2 years, I didn't take a real vacation. For 6 months straight, I slept on the floor of my office at Vantage Trust Bank. My bed, a beanbag. My meals, vending machine ramen. My social life, terminal logs and caffeine shakes. The first time I compiled Sentinel, it took 19 minutes to initialize. I remember because I watched the progress bar like a heartbeat, each percentage point flickering to life under the sterile glow of my desk lamp. The office was empty. The floor was silent. Somewhere in the building, a janitor's cart rattled down the hallway. 19 minutes. That's how long it took to birth something that would eventually be worth 9 figures. That's how long it took to create the thing that would break me and rebuild me. People called me quiet, private, hard to read, but I was building something no one else could see, not even Devon. Devon Kessler, my manager, the kind of guy who could charm a cobra and then sell it its own skin. The board loved him. He looked the part, spoke the lingo, but under the hood, he couldn't code a loop without Stack Overflow. Devon Kessler wasn't my boss. Not at first. He was a senior product director, a title that meant nothing and everything in the bank's hierarchy. The kind of guy who wore Patagonia vests to board meetings and said things like, "Let's pressure test that paradigm," without blinking. Our first meeting was an accident. I'd stayed late debugging a pre-processing script when he wandered into the analytics pit, his Rolex glinting under the motion-activated lights. "You're the new ML kid, right?" He leaned against my cubicle, eyeing my triple monitor setup. "Heard you're working on something spicy." I minimized my IDE. "Just fraud detection models." "Just," he chuckled. "Drew, fraud detection is our entire risk budget." That's when he said the words that should have been my first red flag. "I'd love to collaborate." Then he got me transferred to his unit for us to collaborate, but he didn't lift a finger one day. Sentinel started as a kernel, a scrap of Python that clustered transaction anomalies better than our legacy systems. Then it grew. I fed it decades of fraud patterns, chargebacks, stolen identities, money laundering schemes so elaborate they read like spy novels. The model inhaled them, found connections no human ever could. By month 6, it could predict fraud before it happened. Not guess, predict. The first time it flagged an account, I assumed a glitch. Then the customer tried to wire $287,000 to a shell company in Belize. Kept my head down, kept building. That's when Devon showed up with 2 coffees and a spreadsheet. "We're presenting to the board," he said. "Not you're presenting. We're." There was a catch, though. A clause in my contract. Legal, corporate. Company first intellectual property. The NDA was 37 pages long. I signed it on my 3rd day at Vantage Trust. Fingers still ink smudged from my Columbia diploma. The HR rep, a woman with the tired smile of someone who'd processed 1,000 wide-eyed grad students, slid the document across the table. "Standard boilerplate," she said. "Everything you create here belongs to the bank." I didn't hesitate. Why would I? This was my golden ticket. A chance to work with transaction datasets larger than most academic research pools. The kind of data that could train a real AI, not just another thesis project. I initialed every page. I even smiled while doing it. But it was right there in plain English, and the HR lady told me clearly. Anything I built under Vantage Trust's roof belonged to them, even if I breathed it into life myself. But I still signed it. I was naive and excited, fresh out of grad school, hungry to make something real. Now I was holding a system that could change the way banks think about risk, and I couldn't even put my name on it. Then came the email. Subject: Internal demo, board preview. From Devon Kessler, Message. This is your shot. Let's impress them together. I should have known. Still, I poured everything into the presentation. Real-time risk scans, predictive heat maps, self-adjusting learning thresholds. The boardroom smelled like leather and lithium. 12 men in Brioni suits watched as I demonstrated Sentinel's real-time threat detection. The system dissected a live transaction stream, highlighting risks in cascading color gradients. Amber for suspicious, crimson for near-certain fraud. Devon stood beside me, nodding like he understood half of what I was saying. Let us know where you're watching us from. And if you're enjoying this story, kindly do us a favor and subscribe to our channel. You have nothing to lose, and it will mean the world to us. We're just a small channel trying to grow. Thank you, and back to the video. This account, I said, pointing to a pulsing red node, will attempt an unauthorized withdrawal within the next 4 minutes. They laughed. Then the alert triggered at 3:47. The room went so quiet I heard someone's Fitbit vibrate. The board leaned in and smiled. Jaws slack. Phones down. One of the execs actually said, "This could change everything." I nodded. Quiet. Proud. Devon stepped forward. As you can see, our proprietary framework. Ow. That word slithered down my spine. After the demo, Devon pulled me aside. "You crushed it," he said, clapping my shoulder. "You made us look very good." I smiled. I think I even said thanks. The next morning, I walked into the boardroom expecting a follow-up presentation as they had requested. An acknowledgement, maybe even a handshake. Instead, I saw Devon, standing, presenting, leveraged advanced behavioral modeling to anticipate threat vectors. Our anomaly detection system, internally dubbed Sentinel, is a proprietary solution developed under my direction. My direction. I didn't say a word. I just sat there, heart punching my ribs, breath shallow. He didn't mention my name once. Not even when they clapped. Not when they said things like, "Ingenious work, Devon. You just made our fiscal year." I stared at the table, at the fake wood grain, counted every swirl. Afterward, Devon walked past me, phone in hand, grinning. He whispered, "Don't worry, man. We both know who really built it." Then he winked. I nodded, and swallowed the scream. The director of AI research role opened up in Q3, and HR said it was open to everyone in the unit. I applied the same day. Devon forgot to submit my peer review until the deadline passed. When I confronted him, he looked genuinely hurt. "Drew, you're not ready for that scope," he said, adjusting his standing desk. "Let's revisit in a year." A week passed. Then came the email. Subject, promotion decision. From HR. Message. "We appreciate your contribution, Drew. Unfortunately, the position has been offered to another candidate." The other candidate? Devon. He got the title, the raise, the credit for my code. And I stayed late that night, stared at the terminal, watched Sentinel run perfect cycles. It was still beautiful. But now, it felt like watching someone else raise your child. They didn't just take my work. They took me, and I let them. But not for long. I didn't confront him. I didn't make a scene. I did something worse. I disappeared. No outburst. No HR complaints. No late-night email with a long list of bullet points and receipts. I just walked into Devon's office the next morning, envelope in hand. Devon barely looked up. "Hey man, everything cool?" "Yeah," I said, setting the letter down. "Just moving on to some personal projects." He nodded. Didn't ask which projects. Didn't ask why now. "All right, you do what's best for you." Then he smiled like he'd just won. Like I was too weak to fight. He didn't know I wasn't backing down. I was backing out. To burn it all down, from the outside. 2 weeks later, I started at Intuitive Systems. Small team. Quiet office. No politics. No Devon. They didn't care about shiny demos or investor pitches. They cared about truth. Accountability. My new role? AI Transparency Compliance Lead. Basically, I helped banks explain how their black box AI systems made decisions, especially around fraud and credit. With new federal oversight laws kicking in, Financial institutions needed to prove their AI wasn't just magic. That it was fair, explainable, auditable. I was perfect for it. And I was happy, for the first time in years. I worked from home, built clean systems, no code thieves, no credit vultures. I drank my coffee slowly, watched the light move across my hardwood floors. My heart stopped racing every time my inbox pinged. Peace. Finally, until one morning, my new boss, Pam, walked into my home office, laptop in hand. She never just walked in, not unless something mattered. She sat on the edge of my desk. "Hey Drew, got a new case?" I nodded. "What's the brief?" She flipped her screen toward me. "We've been contracted to audit a bank using opaque AI fraud tech. They flagged an issue in their recent internal compliance check. System outputs aren't matching their documentation. Could be non-compliant." I scrolled through the summary. Client name, Vantage Trust Bank. I froze. Just for a second. Pam kept talking. "The system's impressive, apparently, but they can't explain how it works. We're going in to trace its logic chains, inspect training sets, and verify transparency thresholds." She looked at me, smiled. "You'll be leading the investigation." I closed the laptop slowly, sipped my coffee. "Perfect," I said, because I already knew what I'd find. You can't fake a soul, and Devon never understood that. The security badge clipped to my shirt didn't say engineer anymore. It said regulatory auditor. Same building, same marble floors, same flickering overhead lights I used to fall asleep under. But everything felt colder now. I stepped into the Vantage Trust conference room. 12 people in suits, 3 from the board, legal counsel, compliance officers. Devon. He saw me and froze mid-sentence. His lips parted just slightly, like his mind short-circuited, trying to make sense of what he was seeing. I nodded politely, then pulled out my chair. "Mr. Blake will be our lead auditor," Pam announced. She was all business. No one challenged it. Devon tried to smile. A twitchy, diplomatic version of the smirk I knew too well. "Wow. Drew. Small world." I didn't reply. He didn't deserve the luxury of comfort. Over the next few days, I sat in on every meeting, watched Devon and his team try to explain my system to regulators. They stumbled through technical overviews, misrepresented key decision trees, misused my own terminology. Their faces were tight. Sweat glistened under the fluorescent lights. Because it wasn't working. Their anomaly detection system, my system, was failing compliance. The feds wanted clarity on how the AI flagged certain transactions. What data influenced the risk weights? Which variables were being prioritized? No one could answer, because Devon had stripped the soul out of it. He'd taken my logic, my architecture, but gutted the meta layer, the part that made it explainable. I'd built a self-documenting AI, one that left a transparent trail for every decision it made. Without that, it was just a black box, powerful but opaque, dead inside. I finally asked for back-end access. Devon hesitated. "Is that really necessary?" Pam didn't blink. "Yes." The moment I logged in, it hit me like déjà vu. Same skeleton, same neural structure, same signature loops. Even the dev comments, they were mine, just barely rewritten. A thesaurus couldn't hide it. But my documentation layer? Gone. It was like someone stole the engine of a car, but left out the dashboard. The code worked, but no one could drive it safely. I stayed quiet for 3 days. Watched Devon stammer his way through reviews. He kept trying to bluff, use buzzwords, throw AI jargon at the auditors like sand in their eyes. But I saw the panic, the subtle tremble in his voice, the growing pause between each fake confident answer. He knew the walls were closing in, and I let them, in silence, until day 4. We were deep into a cross-functional review with the legal team and federal liaisons. Devon was trying to explain the system's logic map, but his diagram looked like spaghetti code had a stroke. One of the regulators leaned forward. "Mr. Kessler, can you walk us through the weight attribution between behavioral versus transactional anomalies?" Devon blinked. Then he stuttered. "We use a proprietary blend of adaptive learning protocols with interference baselining to streamline risk profiles. I closed my folder, pushed it slightly forward. Then I said 6 words. I built this. I can explain. The room went still. Devon looked like someone had unplugged him from the wall. All the blood drained from his face. His jaw twitched, but no words came. I turned toward the regulators. We can start from the logic layer. I'll show you how the system actually weighs fraud triggers, including the subroutines he can't name. Devon swallowed hard, because he knew. This wasn't just about code anymore. It was about credibility, and he had none left. They thought I wanted credit. I never did. I wanted the crown. They announced it publicly. Drew Blake appointed lead architect of next-gen AI infrastructure. My name was in the Wall Street Journal, Forbes Tech Daily. Not buried in footnotes. Not mentioned as one of the developers. Top line. Full caps. Architect of the future. And I didn't even smile. Not because I wasn't proud, but because pride didn't live here anymore. Precision did. The funny thing about crowns? You don't grab them. You build them. Line by line. Framework by framework. Until one day, they realize they can't run without you. I led the redevelopment. Cleaned up their mess. Built an explainable, compliant, next-gen fraud detection system with a core so elegant it practically narrated itself. Dev teams followed my blueprints like scripture. Auditors called the new model a regulatory gold standard. Investors returned. The stock bounced. And through it all, they kept asking me the same thing. Why didn't you fight harder when Devon took credit? I always gave the same answer. A smile. And nothing more. Meanwhile, Devon vanished from headlines. Rumors trickled in. He was interviewing at mid-level product roles. One company ghosted him mid-process. Another pulled the offer after a background check. The industry moved on. He couldn't. They say he's bitter now. Paranoid. Still telling people he built the system. But when they Google it, only one name comes up. Mine. A week after we launched the new system, I got a letter. Handwritten. Thick cream paper. The company seal pressed into the top corner. It was from the CEO. Just one sentence. We owe our future to you. I didn't frame it. Not right away. I walked it to my office. Set it beside something else. A black map frame. Inside it, the original schematic. My anomaly detection model. The one I built in silence, while the world ignored me. I placed the letter beside it. Not above. Not below. Beside. Because the thank you meant nothing without the theft. And the theft meant nothing without the return. People think revenge is rage. Confrontation. Fire and fury. They're wrong. Revenge is refinement. It's the quiet reconstruction of your value. In a place where they once denied it. They wanted a servant. I became the system. They wanted credit. I took control. Revenge doesn't have to be loud. Sometimes, you just become the system they can't survive without. Where are you watching us from? Here are some questions for you. Have you ever had someone take credit for your work? What did you do? Do you believe quiet revenge is more powerful than confrontation? If you were Drew, would you have taken the job back? Or walked away? Don't forget to like and subscribe so you don't miss our upcoming stories.